because you mentioned Iraq and Ukraine, and I know, you know, if it was one of those old movies where they have the stamps on the luggage, yours would have like so many stamps on it. Like, what is it when, like, I mean, you're like, you know, you seem to be attracted to the fire. What?
Maybe. I think there was a very famous French volcanologist. Volcano study in the study of volcanoes.
Of course.
Named Maurice Kraft.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a documentary on he and his wife, because they were a team. And he struggled a lot with his feelings about mankind, about human beings. And he felt that the more time he spent with volcanoes, the more he loved humankind.
Oh.
Now, I've tried to deep dive from ego to adrenaline junkie to, you know, I've heard all the criticisms that are, you know, I'm grandstanding. That, you know, you got to consider it all.
Right.
And I think the one that hit me the most was that there was something in Ukraine in particular where everything that we were wired to believe was exceptional about America, I realized I'd never smelled it in the air. And then I got to Ukraine and I smelled exactly that dream.
Wow.
And with a resilience that's extraordinary. And by the way, if you're being just pragmatic and recognizing the obstacles, an obstacle is racism. And with Ukraine, you have a Trojan horse who can get through and show that what we share is dreaming, because we will fight harder as a country for white faces. There's no question about that. I've worked in Haiti for 12, 13 years. That country has suffered from its color. And, you know, people of heart have given a lot to it, but never has the...
Well, we gave an awful lot of blood and treasure to save the people of Vietnam from Ho Chi Minh.
Well, see, but this is when that war is still to me a memory as a child of the stupidity of adults.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether it's John F. Kennedy, our hero,
right,
or Lyndon Johnson, or Richard Nixon, they were all telling us that communism was going to spread throughout if we let this, and it was not the case. And it was also not the case that it could be won.
Okay, communism was intent on spreading. You can't...
No, I wasn't saying that. I'm saying
but
that
you would agree with
Vietnam
that.
was not going to be the
we weren't going to say
the deciding factor.
Well, we don't know because we can't go back in time and rewrite history.
Well, we know because we lost.
I know, but we lost over like 15 years.
That's right.
But if America had not been in Vietnam in the early 60s, or if Kennedy hadn't got shot and say he pulled the troops out and we had no troops there, and Lyndon Johnson's attitude was, well, I'm from Texas. What am I fighting for yellow man in Asia for? You know, I could see that scenario playing out. Or if there was a different president who thought that way at the time, we might not have gone into Vietnam, and all of Indochina probably would have gone communist. I mean, in Cambodia did, Laos did, I think, for a time. They would have stopped at Burma. Really? And then not India? Yeah, there was a legitimate fear. I'm not saying the Vietnam War was where we should have been, but there was a legitimate fear that Stalin and Mao...
But there's also a legitimate lesson. And this is not giving moral equivalency to the struggle of the Vietnamese on either side. But there's a lesson in it. How in the world could we lose that war? How in the world could Russia lose the war in Afghanistan,
right,
followed by us losing the war in Afghanistan?
Right.
So now we have a democratic dreaming, a Western European dreaming country,
right,
occupying all of our values. And
values we used
understand
to have.
And I think the thing that needs to be understood most about Ukraine, because I think it will be the most motivating thing to let it, there are only two ways that Ukraine ends up. One is victory on its own terms,
Right.
with or without support, and a lot more dead and a lot more tragedy. And with the United States going, we gave them one Patriot system. When I was there on one of the trips, when we were going to the east, to the front line, before we went all the way to the front line, we first went to a HIMARS charging station. And it was world news that the United States had given them a HIMARS system. Now, the HIMARS system, unlike the Patriot system, I came to learn, is very quick to train on. And they were extremely effective with them. And this was world news. HIMARS coming in from the US. The biggest border in Europe, we gave them 4.
But we've given them a lot.
Well,
I don't know.
A lot. We're going to give them more. The question is the expediency.
Okay, but you can't say we've been exactly holding back.
No,
by
U.S. standards, we're doing pretty good with them.
Yeah, I mean, there's only well, I mean, America can't do anything quickly, but I'm guessing just because you say, oh, we're going to give you that, it doesn't have, they have to like put them on trucks, or I don't know what the fuck they have to do, but I know that I don't feel like we're abandoning Ukraine, and we shouldn't abandon Ukraine.
Do you think that this Congress will abandon Ukraine now that we're in a new day?
I think they will try, because it's anything the Democrats want, they will be against. So, Fox News is already kind of pro-Russia, a lot pro-Russia. So,
well, I think that's been going on there's a lot of, and this is not just coming out of me, but out of reading. For 30 years we have been wanting to comfort ourselves that the Russian threat is over for a long time.
No, Mitt Romney was
dead on.
Dead on, and everybody made fun of him when he said the biggest threat is Russia. Mm-hmm. But what do you make of your boyfriend Oliver Stone, like being so down with Putin and Russia? Where does that come from? From an old lefty, went to Vietnam,
fought in Vietnam. Here's what I would say about Oliver Stone, and just to make it a bigger picture, the parts of Oliver Stone that I think should be embraced. Oliver Stone is an iconoclast by nature. One looks into his background, and there's a kind of...
Hey, thanks for watching the clip. Hit the subscribe button now so you never miss out on our Club Random content that's posted daily.